Hey, good afternoon, my friends. We are live from the Philippines. And if you can hear the noise in the background, we're in the middle of a typhoon again, second one this week. I don't know if it's the same typhoon just coming back to us or it's a totally separate one. But I've had multiple typhoons and earthquakes since I moved here, but no regrets, no regrets. Speaking of no regrets, how's that for a transition? Great arm workout this morning. Very, very happy. I did it with, the first set was barbell curls, standard. And then everything else I did with resistance bands from that point on. I did 6 sets altogether, 6 exercises, 4 sets each. So 24 sets for biceps. That's pretty good. Like I said, I started with the barbell curls, 4 sets. Adding weight each time, reducing the reps, which I always do. That's my thing. But I focused on something that I don't normally focus on as much as I should and as much as you should. And that is pacing. Pacing is much more important and it gets neglected. I see my friends on their YouTube videos or their Instagram, and they're doing this, and they're not exerting any real effort. They're just going through the movement, and that's not going to build your muscle. I mean, if you're trying to burn fat, be my guest. But if you're trying to build muscle, you got to work the muscle. So you got to squeeze as you're going up, pause, and then go down even slower, the negative. Multiple studies show that muscle growth is much more related to the negative movement than the positive. The concentric, I believe it's called. I always get those two mixed up, concentric and eccentric. But the negative is where all the muscles are tearing. So I actually count in my head. I go 1 up, hold it for 1, and go down for 2. And that's what I did on every set today. All 24 sets. Moving the weight is not enough. Quite frankly, if you are moving it that easily, like my friend, you're either using momentum or you're not engaging the muscle. You can engage the muscle with a 5-pound dumbbell if you really focus on it, if you squeeze, if you contract, if you get a good range of motion. So the weight, as far as I'm concerned, is the least important part. Unless, of course, you're lifting for ego, and then the weight is the most important part. I'm transitioning. I was an ego lifter for 25 years. But I've had better results in the last couple of years than all of those 25 years combined. Gotta keep hydrated. I'm drinking more and more water. This is water with Crystal Light and creatine. Mind you, water, more creatine. So next, after that, we did the resistance band version of incline curls, which is standing away from the anchor spot, which in this case for me was underneath my door. And I don't really have a lot of room here to show you. Let me back up a little bit. That doesn't really help. When you step further away from the door, your hands are going, your arms rather, are going behind your back. So it's mimicking the incline motion. And of course, increasing the range of motion. So that was my second set. Then I turned around, faced the door with the same weights. I call this the resistance band short curls because the range of motion is much different. Basically, you're just going from the 90-degree up and squeezing, and again, slow, 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 slow. After that, what did I do? I did, so this would be the third set, yes. I did high preacher curls, I call them, within the resistance band. You can do this with a cable, of course, too. When you're doing it over your head, your elbows are, or your forearms are in a fixed position, just like if you had it on a pad and you were doing it. So it's an interesting variation. I still like the other one first, but I was experimenting with the resistance bands. And then from there, I did hammer curls with the resistance band. And I remembered a video I saw a couple days ago. It was a training class for resistance bands. It was for trainers to help them teach their clients. And I was very unimpressed with the overall video. Everything was more than basic, nothing really groundbreaking. The guy didn't even use an anchor for anything. He just wrapped it around a pole or a tree, which is okay. But if you're trying to train people, you better have some knowledge of the anchor. But one thing I did notice, and I don't know if it was a conscious choice of his, but when he was stepping on the bands, which I don't do that often because I rely on the anchors, but he was just stepping on it with one foot. I usually do 2 feet. And I said, that looks interesting. And I tried it just to see what the benefits were. And the benefits are that you're going to get a better range of motion when you're stepping on it with 1 foot. Just think about the distance of the 2 feet. Even if your feet are together, this will cut down your range of motion as opposed to this. But most of us are standing shoulder width apart, so that cuts the resistance even more, the range of motion, that is. And you say, well, Steve, okay, so you're using 1 foot, but that might affect the resistance. Well, not as much as you think. I didn't notice it at all, to be honest with you. But guess what? It's a lot easier to add resistance than it is to add range of motion. Just put another band on. Grab it lower. There's so many techniques to add resistance. So I'd much rather have a better range of motion and be able to add the resistance if necessary. So that's the way I'm going to go for the most part from now on. I like that. So even if you think you know everything, which I do, I'm just kidding, calm down, stop. Even if you think you know everything, you can always learn. So this was a little, like, 20-minute mini course that I watched online. No certificate was awarded, which is fine. I don't need that. I have probably about 25 certificates. What's one more? But I picked something up, so therefore it's valuable. And that's the way I approach all of these YouTube videos. Although I am starting to cut down on the influencers I watch because I'm getting a lot of contradictory information. For example, some people say front raise are a total waste of time. Others swear by it. A lot of different exercises come up that way on YouTube. So I'm going to stick with 2 guys for resistance bands. Chancey Fit and Discipline Dave. And then for free weights, I'm going to stick with Jeff Cavalier of Athlean X and Johnny Shreve. And that's it. I think I'm about to have a customer, so have a good day.